writers. Today for our mini lesson, we are going to work on writing endings for our personal narratives. Our content objective, what we're going to learn, is that we can write meaningful endings for our personal narratives. And our language objective, how we're going to get there, is by writing a personal narrative with a meaningful ending, and we'll use mentor texts as examples. So today we are writing. A lot of times people just end their story saying the end. But now that we're in 5th grade, we can have more powerful endings that leave our readers with a sense of closure and feeling really satisfied with how the story ended. So we can say more than just the end. Like I said, in 5th grade, we are expected to provide a conclusion that follows from the narrated events, and it should connect to your whole narrative. It should pull the story together and give a sense of closure and meaning. So let's take a look at how some authors do this with some text that we have read in Reading Workshop. All right. So we're going to go ahead and read Each Kindness, the ending for that, and then the ending for Because of Mr. Churupt. And while I read it, I want you to think, what do you notice about how these authors end their stories? How do they leave with a sense of closure? So for Each Kindness, that afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wished I would have said to Maya. Each kindness I had never shown. I threw small stones into it, over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away. Like each kindness done and not done. Like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples, and the chance of a kindness with Maya becoming more and more forever gone. So what did Jacqueline Woodson do? In a minute, we're going to pause and talk about that ending. Now let's look at the end of Mr. Churupt. So this is a Luke chapter. We end on a Luke chapter. Luke. I remember thinking, 6th grade, we're going to be 6th graders, and Mr. Churupt is going to be my teacher, our teacher. I thought of Mrs. Williams' word, magic. I looked at Mr. Churupt sitting with one of my classmates, and I thought, she's right. There will be magic. He's my teacher, the dollar word man. Churupt, dollar word. So take a minute, think of what we noticed, and we're going to pause the video and discuss how these authors ended their stories. All right. So Jacqueline Woodson, our author of Each Kindness, she used a reflective ending. In a reflective ending, the narrator steps back and thinks about the whole story and all the events that happened. So our narrator, Chloe, thinks about how her actions affected Maya and the impact a simple act of kindness could have had on her. So she reflected back through the whole story. In Mr. Churupt, we were left with a reflective ending as well, and also a little bit of a cliffhanger ending. So Luke reflects on his whole year with Mr. Churupt and how this is his favorite teacher. And he also leaves us on a little bit of a cliffhanger because we're wondering what will happen when the kids loop with Mr. Churupt to 6th grade. All right, so let's try this with 2 more stories. So The Invisible Boy, we read a couple weeks ago. Maybe, just maybe, Brian isn't invisible after all. It's a short, simple sentence. Maybe, just maybe, Brian isn't invisible after all. Why did the author, Trudy Ludwig, make this choice? And why did she choose to end her story in this way? Now let's look at Goosebumps. As I got comfy, my mind soared. I thought about all the times my mom had been right. Like the time I didn't wear rain boots when my mom told me and got cold. Then the time my mom told me to put on sunblock. I didn't, and I got a really bad sunburn. But out of all of my thoughts, I wondered why I acted like that. Was I cranky or mad? But before I could think, my eyes got heavy and started to close. Before I knew it, everything was black and then gone. All right, so we're going to take a minute to pause and discuss what do we notice about how these authors end their stories? What choices did they make and why did they make those? All right, so Trudy Ludwig, the author of The Invisible Boy, she uses what we call a circular ending because it circles back way to the beginning. So the author connects to the beginning where she asks, "Can you see Brian, the invisible boy?" That was her sentence to open her story and hook her reader, and that was a simple lead. And then she ends with another lead. She ends with another sentence that is very similar to that lead. So she connects back to that idea, which started the story and carried through the whole text. Now, Goosebumps, it ends with a lesson or a moral ending. The author reflects on the events and states the lessons she learned throughout the story. So she reflects on her fight with her mom and all the other times she fought with her mom, and then she simply ends it with what she learned about that and then falling asleep. So a lesson or moral ending. All right, so we're going to look at two more, and then we're going to get to writing. All right, so what do we notice about how these authors end their stories? So Tia Issa Wants a Car by Meg Medina. Tia Issa bought a car to carry us to the sea. Two short sentences. Why did she do this? Why did she end her story this way? And now, Hot Day on Abbott Avenue. Look what I can do, Renee says, trying to lick blue ice pop juice off her elbow. Kishi laughs and tries to do the same. Today is the trying to lick blue ice pop juice off your elbow day. A forgetting what you were mad about day. A feeling good about being best friends again day. What did these authors do? What did we notice? We're going to pause and discuss. All right, so you might have noticed that Tia Issa, or the author of Tia Issa, Meg Medina, also used a circular ending. So she starts with the simple phrase, Tia Issa wants a car, and finally she ends with the same phrase, but instead of wants a car, we said she bought a car, and it shows how Tia Issa reached her goal. So it connects way back to the beginning in the whole rest of the story. Now, Abbott Avenue ends with an emotional ending. So the author really wants us to feel happy with the way the story ends. So she shows this emotion through her careful word choice about what kind of day it is. The reader is very happy to learn that the girls are friends again and their day has turned around. So she leaves us feeling an emotion. All right, so now it's your turn to take this to your personal narrative. In your writing notebook, you're going to write at least 3 different endings for your personal narrative. You can use the mentor text to guide you, or you can try any of the other strategies that are here on this anchor chart. We have our circular ending, lesson and moral, reflective endings, and cliffhangers, and the capturing emotion endings. So you can try any of the other endings as well. You're going to pick your favorite narrative ending and revise by typing it into your draft. And you're going to be ready to share your narrative ending with a writing partner at the end of class. So when I check back on everyone's narratives, I expect to see revised endings that are different from what I read last time. Now, if you're done, you'll read comments and watch videos from me and apply those changes to your narrative. Or if you don't have comments or videos, which I will let you know who that is, you will start working on a second personal narrative using everything you've learned this unit. All right, so let's go ahead and write.